Good evening and welcome to the Cover One Buffalo podcast. You are joining your host, Greg Tompsett, along with my partner in crime, Aaron Quinn. Aaron, it's Monday Night Football. It's prime time. The Buffalo Bills just ended a primetime game on Monday Night Football for the first time this century with a win. How do you feel?
I mean, you know me. I love primetime football. I've been saying that forever.
You've been all about it.
This must be, I've said it so many times, all my friends are New England Patriots fans, and this must be what it feels like to have a really good team be on primetime and perform really well. It's awesome. It's kind of euphoric. I am super tired and I should go to bed right after we do the show, but I feel like I'm just going to stay up scrolling on Twitter, curled up in my dark bedroom, just scrolling highlights all night long. I'm jazzed, man.
Oh yeah. No, this is not going to be healthy or good for anything productive. But it's going to be fantastic. And it's the kind of win that, we talked about it beforehand. It's the kind of game that there were a lot of dragons to be slayed here. The Bills had not, what they talked about a lot of the broadcast, they hadn't won a game in Monday Night Football since 1999. This century, they had not won a game. They haven't been good in primetime for a while. They hadn't won a game outside of a 1 p.m. kickoff all season. It was really a lot of things that aren't real and are superstitious and get people all caught up in their feelings. But I wanted it to be over too, and I love the fact that not only that, it was an amazing performance. Josh Allen's best primetime game, since the Dallas game, and it was a better game than that. All his great games were 1 o'clock games where not that many people were watching, and that he played great tonight. The broadcast group could not praise him enough. We never get that. Just all the different things there were just amazing to be able to have that feeling. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, you could have just stopped at Josh Allen's best game. You didn't have to add anything after that. After it's cool, but this Josh Allen put on a show tonight, and it was phenomenal. And I think when we break it down, it's only going to be better. So I'm in love with the way he played tonight, because I had people texting me from all types of fan bases across the country. All my friends are texting me saying like, wow, you guys are legitimate. Like this team's a competitor. And this is something that we've been talking about for a while on this show, is the Bills putting together a complete game, not just a Josh Allen having a good game. He's had plenty of good games this year and was in the MVP conversation early in the season, which, by the way, I think after a performance like this, he probably won't get in that conversation. Patrick Mahomes is probably still walking away with it, but he should be right there in that top 3.
I mean, he deserves some credit. He deserves
after a game like he had.
Yeah, so some votes, some support for it. Yeah, I'm not crazy. Patrick Mahomes has like 31 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, so it's his award. That they're going to be the number 1 seed. Obviously, we saw Pittsburgh lose tonight. That means next week game has even more meaning. So one, they're hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers, who now are 11-1. And going to be coming off of a loss for the first time, and that now a win by the Bills puts that 2 seed, number 1, number 2 seed into play. So some fun things that are coming up here. So as we dive in, obviously you already mentioned him. We'll go through it the way we do every night, but tonight's show is brought to us by our presenting sponsor, Uncle Jumbo's. Really appreciate everything they do, and obviously tonight was a great night to celebrate with some Uncle Jumbo's. We'll get into the responsible play later on. Our first half sponsor is T-Shirt University, and exciting. We'll get into some of their goodness later on with our T-Shirt University fresh look, but we'll start with Josh Allen. 32 of 40, which is 80% completion percentage, along with several throwaways there, at least 2 that I saw, maybe a third one. 375 yards, 4 touchdowns, 9.4 yards per attempt, had 1 sack that was just him trying to keep the play alive. 139 quarterback rating, ran for another 11, including 2 first down conversions. Just a phenomenal game from Josh Allen, and it was great to hear. Louis Riddick is one of the most respected minds in football, and to hear a guy that I think really highly of praise my quarterback over and over and over again, it was such a weird feeling. We just don't ever experience that. It's always the weird backhanded compliments, the weird little, cuts of like, oh man, he's finally playing well tonight, or he's on a hot roll tonight. Let's see if he can stay streaky. And being able to get someone like Louis Riddick praising our quarterback, it felt awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you could call this game and not praise him. I mean, he did pretty much everything right. None of the crazy Josh Allen plays. How many times have we said that this year after a game that he didn't make any of those crazy sugar high Josh Allen plays? So he just played a great game. There was times out there tonight, dude, where I'm not going to compare him to a Tom Brady type quarterback, but where he got to the line, saw what the defense was doing. The game slowed down in a big way for Josh Allen tonight. He was pointing out exactly what that defensive look was, and he was just picking them apart almost in a surgical manner, just getting back and just finding the spots on the same page with his receivers, and he was just dealing all night long.
It was unbelievable. I mean, the plays that he was calling out, the spots where you saw him check, you saw alert, you saw, reload, going into all the different pieces there. He hit two of those immediate hot read plays to Cole Beasley that were just ridiculous. Like, I don't know how you stop that. Obviously, some fans would reply back, oh, why don't they do it every play? Well, it only works like that when they catch him in the right defense. But when you catch them in the right defense and they know what's coming and they call that quick hot read slant to Cole Beasley, there's nothing they can do. It's automatic. And a couple guys in the chat here talking about how, wait until we get Smoke back. I mean, this could get really, really fun to be able to put everything together in the way that I think we can. So it's going to be pretty awesome to be able to do this. And
whoop, I lost you there. Sorry, I upgraded this internet, but it's bugging out on me here tonight again.
No, getting a little weird with the feed. I'm not sure where the gap is. As we're getting into it and looking at the run game, I was happy to see Feliciano back. I was excited to be able to see that. I'm a little bit nervous about being able to identify, are we going to see anything long-term with Feliciano? I was glad that they gave him some rest in the last drive, but I thought that, the offensive line did a great job keeping Josh upright. They didn't get that first sack until really late in the game, and that was when I think Dable and the offense was kind of feeling themselves. So from a run game standpoint, it was okay. I thought that, there were several of those runs were late in the game as they were kind of salting it away. It was really pass heavy early. For anyone who doesn't know, obviously there's a lot of people in the Bills media content creation world who are friends and talk back and forth. Aaron and I talk to Bruce Nolan all the time, and we were talking today about the first down usage. And in the first half, at one point, it was 17 first down passes to 6 first down runs. And Eric backed that up with a tweet later on that was the right call against this defense. That was what they were not as good at. And if you're going to go that route, that's the way to do it. So I didn't mind the run game today. I'm glad it was pass heavy. It wasn't going a ton, and they're a better run defense than they are pass defense. So that was the right call. And then I think the yards per carry and some of the numbers look uglier than they need to because it was salting the game away when we were just trying to let the clock run.
Yeah, I had no problems with it. And I had no problems with the game plan against the Chargers either. I think it was game plan specific. I mean, Brian Dable's a smart guy. I think outside of Josh Allen having a fantastic game, Brian Dable had one of his best play calling games front to back that we've seen in a long time. I mean, there's probably a player or two we can pick out and criticize him for, but it's not a lot. He had a really good game, and he had a very good defensive coordinator on his heels the majority of that game, with Borges only punting once late in the game when it was already pretty much put away.
And a 68-yard missile when he did.
Yeah. I'm telling you, he's the best, but he's best when he punts one time or fewer.
Yeah. No, it's clear. It's obvious. As long as you can get Corey Borges to punt once, he's a phenomenal punter. It's great.
Yes. Yeah, it's awesome. So Brian Dable deserves a ton of credit for this because this line got funky. You're more into the gambling stuff. This line got funky. National media got funky about this game. And
so from a gambling standpoint, it was just for anybody who's not paying attention that when you see lines move, that's after the fact. So Vegas gets funky sometimes. They put lines out there for a game that everybody goes, Do they know something that we don't know? Why is this game spread, at a point spread that way? This game started out at Buffalo -3. Buffalo should be -3. They're 8-3. The Niners were 5-6. That's what a neutral site game should be. Matter of fact, some people thought it should have been more than 3. All of a sudden, so much money came pouring in on the 49ers, the game moved all the way down to 0. And some books today had the Buffalo Bills at a 1 or a 1.5 point underdog. And there were some books I was looking up, some sports books had 90% of the money in on the 49ers. And I don't know if it was recency bias of them beating the Rams or what it was, but it made no sense to me. And I had money on the Bills and was certainly happy to take that, but it was just crazy. And Vegas made an obscene amount of money tonight. All those sports books raked in that 90% win because everybody was on the Niners.
I think it was the media driven. I think that I watch all the media, even the shows that I hate, all week long leading up, just to hear how people are talking about this team. So I'm on YouTube watching them. And honestly, dude, every show across every network was hyping up the Niners. Like, you got to watch this team. You got to watch out for this team. They're about to go on a run. And I even bought into it a little bit, I think, in our pregame show. I was a little bit hesitant versus what I was seeing. And I don't know. Maybe it's just Bills had a better game plan, both sides of the ball. I mean, it's so weird to sit here and talk about a complete game from this team, but it was really too. We talk about getting to a complete game. Now's the time to do it, dude. December. Yeah. I'm wearing my Christmas hat. This is when you want to have your first complete game of the season.
Yeah.
Let's talk about these receivers, though.
Oh my gosh, Cole Beasley is a gift. Cole Beasley is just phenomenal. Like, I don't know if he's ever been covered. There are just plays where Josh doesn't choose to throw to him. So Cole Beasley goes 9 for 130 and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs seemed like he kind of had a ho-hum game. It was 10 catches for 92 yards.
And went over 1,000 for the year.
Oh, went over 1,000 for the year and has to be up there in the NFL lead for catches and targets now, because tonight he had 11 more targets and 10 more catches.
I think he took over the lead for catches.
It's got to be right there. Obviously with John Brown out and there is still a small element of the team missing with John Brown that he does bring to this offense. But Gabe Davis looked nice tonight. Gabe Davis had 3 catches for 68. We'll get to it. Matter of fact, I'll sprinkle it in here. So one of our sponsors for the first half of the show tonight is the T-Shirt University group. So make sure you check out tshirtuniversity.com, everything they're doing. Our T-Shirt University fresh look of the game, that jet motion play action wheel route to Isaiah McKenzie was absolutely gorgeous. It was one of the prettiest plays I've seen in forever. So fans, when you see them run that jet motion over and over and over again, they don't give it to McKenzie. Oop, little pop pass to McKenzie. No big deal. Little pop pass. No, they don't give it. He goes and goes and goes. And then eventually you lull the defense into a false sense of security. And this time he carried it through and just ran straight up the sideline on a wheel route for a wide open, perfect play call touchdown. That's the kind of play that Brian Daboll has just been keeping in his pocket forever and be like, when do we need a touchdown? This seems like a good time for a free touchdown. Let me throw this out there. It was gorgeous, and that's as fresh of a look as I can think of.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. And this is a good night for the Brian Daboll supporters and a really bad night for the Brian Daboll haters. And
yeah, there's some people who've blocked us who hate Brian Daboll, and they got to be struggling.
Yeah, and the people that haven't blocked us, I'll probably be insufferable too for the next 48 hours or so, because this was a perfect game out of Brian Daboll, and that play is just sort of the cherry on top of this game and a highlight that we'll be able to show. But Josh Allen on that throw, dude, that is the throw that we were told he'll never make. It had touch arc, anticipation. It was perfect. He knew where he was going with that ball. He saw the defense. He put it where it needed to be. It was just pretty beautiful quarterback play. And that play doesn't work unless Josh Allen puts a nice little touch on that pass and gets it behind the defense. So wonderful fresh look take from you there to make that one the fresh look at the game, because I don't think that's going to be the last time we see something off of that. We might not see that play again.
Oh,
but
the variations.
Dable has work off of that jet sweep, and we're going to see more of that as the season rolls on. Guarantee you we'll see it in the playoffs.
Yeah, several great comments in the chat here. Ron talking about the same with the Gabe Davis touchdown. Dustin talking about how about that Gabe Davis touchdown.
Yeah.
How was he so wide open? That was another gorgeous one with great play action. Just easily wide open creation for it, and another beautiful throw from Josh Allen. That was a 28-yard touchdown. So
one quick thing on the wide receivers that I just want to touch on is I know people have started to kind of talk about cutting John Brown in the offseason, and I just want to remind people, when Cole Beasley went down after that first catch and he went into the tent, we were all like petrified of how this game was going to go. And that's why you keep John Brown, because you're one play away from getting a really nice rounded receiver unit to a very questionable, still with the top receiver, but questionable. You don't want Gabe Davis at this point. He hasn't proven that he can be that number 2 option. And so I'd rather have an embarrassment of treasures or embarrassment of riches than cut a guy who has been a huge part of this offense just because the team succeeded without him. Like, this game isn't an indictment against John Brown. If anything, that moment with Beasley tells me how much we need him.
Yeah. So Gabe Davis is right now an elite wide receiver 4 and a luxury that no team has a 4th cornerback or an extra safety that can guard Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis as your second outside receiver is not special.
Not yet.
Is manageable. Now, maybe he has that upside in the future, but right now and probably next season, that's just not in his capacity just yet. So I get that it's there. We'll get to those things in the future. We'll have lots of off-season shows about salary caps and all kinds of fun things. That's not for tonight.
This also, on Josh Allen, that adjusted percentage is going to be probably 90.
Yeah.
Because he had like 3 or 4 throwaways at least that I saw. So
I don't know if there was a single turnover worthy throw. Maybe the one back shoulder that Verrett knocked away in the end zone to Gabe Davis. I had a couple of people comment.
I don't know how they count what a turn word. Nothing that just jumped off the page to me.
No bad decisions that I saw. No like really bad decisions or anything like that.
Right.
I also want to give a quick shout out. This was Dawson Knox' best game of the season. 4 catches on 4 targets for 27 yards and a touchdown, no drops, several nice blocks, including probably the best pass blocking I've seen from him that I can recall. Obviously, we can see more of that when the All-22 comes out, but I counted him several times picking up a defensive end in straight up pass rush, pass blocking. So not amazing. The fact that we're celebrating 4 catches for 27 yards probably tells you how rough of a season it's been. But honestly, I thought Dawson Knox looked good tonight. I think that's worth praising when he does a nice job.
And honestly, I think that's about the production we're going to expect out of a tight end in the offense this year. Now, I'm not saying that they can't get a really good tight end in the future, or he can't develop into a more of a threat and become more of a role in this offense. But I don't expect, even when Tyler Kroft was having his best games, it was right there, like 3 to 4 catches for 30 yards. Like, he wasn't blowing the world up. So I think it'll be right around there.
Yeah, and we'll see where those things shake out. Several guys in the chat here talking about great blitz pickup by Devin Singletary. I noticed that as well. Some really nice pieces for Singletary there as well. And I think that leads into really strong pass protection. We talked about the offensive line a little bit earlier, but I thought they were great tonight. This is a really good. Robert Saleh has some really creative stunts. I think the guards were getting worked a little bit, but they were sharing well. Morris was picking up extra protection well, and they did a great job. Like I said, the first sack didn't come until really late in the game, and it was the only one of the game. And I don't think there was a ton of pressures or quarterback hits overall that I thought were dramatic. So nothing that I thought was crazy. I thought this was, for the fact that we missed John Feliciano for portions of that game, I thought they held up pretty well.
Yeah, they did. They didn't bring anything too crazy until late in that game. I think as far as pressures go, they started to get a little bit when they dialed up some blitz looks. But I don't know. This one's hard to tell because Josh Allen did such a good job manipulating the pocket, extending plays that I think there was probably some pressures there, but he's just so good at rolling out, extending a play and keeping it going. So he stayed clean, but I'll have to go back and look if it was did he stay clean because he's Josh Allen or did he stay clean primarily because the offensive line was so good? I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough to know. So as we kind of flip over and get ready for the defense here, it was, I thought, a good game by the defense. Obviously, there were stretches there where it was verging on maybe a complete performance, and they were held to 10 points pretty late into that game. And the Bills had gone up 27-10. They had just come off a beautiful interception from Micah Hyde. Went through there and put things together. They did give up. I think you made a really good comment. Several people are frustrated with Levi Wallace. Guys like Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel are just not the right matchup for him. They're super athletic, twitchy guys that putting in Josh Norman isn't going to fix that. Putting in Dane Jackson isn't going to fix that. Maybe we need to tweak some things with better bracket coverage. I thought the long touchdown, Micah Hyde was maybe a little late getting there in help, but I don't think that was on Levi Wallace as some horrible burn.
No, I thought considering the lack of athleticism that he gives up or the amount of athleticism he gives up, I thought there was a couple plays that early defensive pass interference that would have kept points off the board on that drive. That kept that drive alive. That was great coverage.
Yeah, and that was a terrible call.
It was a terrible call. And the touchdown that he did give up, that one was a tough one. That whole drive was weird because the Bills give the ball right back to him, and that defense was exhausted. That's a tough one. These guys are, like you said, fast, twitchy guys. I don't love Levi in space. Well, Levi did do a nice job, though. You didn't see a lot of yards after catch with these guys, and that's where they eat. And he did give up some receptions, but he was able to tackle guys, wrap them up. I thought he made more decent plays than he made bad plays in this game. And I think that one big one, fans will hurt. I saw a lot of people saying we got to get rid of this guy. I'm not there. Big plays happen. He came back. He didn't give up anything really more. He kept everything in front of him. I'm not super worried about it.
We have no guy who can cover that route. The only way that our defense covers that route is Micah Hyde gets there and helps cover
exactly.
Dane Jackson's not chasing down Brandon Ayuk. Josh Norman's not chasing down Brandon Ayuk. Cam Lewis. We don't have a guy. To be completely honest, in a straight line sprint, Trey White's not chasing down Brandon Ayuk. Trey probably has better positioning and technique
and
to
leverage,
not let him get past him, but we don't have guys who chase down elite athletes. It's just not what our cornerbacks are. So it is what it is.
And there was a number of receptions that he did give up where he had it. The quarterback just made a better throw. He had a hand right there on one of them to the outside. I think when we watch the all 22 back, it really won't be as bad as Twitter reacted after that one big play. And that was it for the day. I mean, they ended up getting a big pass from Deebo later in the game when the game was already over, but they didn't give up explosive plays at all. We've talked about this defense getting back to 2019. The thing that I'm seeing in that trend is removing the explosive plays so far the last few weeks. That's what made this defense great a year ago, was just getting those explosive plays and not allowing people to do that on you. If they can keep that trend up, man, this is going to be real fun.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they had 0 big plays until garbage time into the fourth quarter. So they went 3 quarters with giving up 0, the one defensive pass interference. But, as far as them converting a play.
Yeah.
I mean, no toxic plays, no explosive plays.
Right.
And lots of people bringing up here that Trey White interception at the end where he just took the ball away. Kendall Bourne had a touchdown. That was a touchdown. He had that, and the ball was in his arms, and Trey White just took the ball from a grown man. It was fantastic. Those are the kind of plays that you love to see those big time players make in big time moments. And they weren't in position to take back anything over, but they had brought it back within 10. It was enough that you could have had something concerning there, and that was really just kind of a game sealing play to end it and wrap it up.
Yeah, and they got downfield quick, which was annoying.
Yeah.
Right. But the play before with Hyde, that was also a grown man play.
Oh,
He had a touchdown, and to stop him and wrap him up at the goal line, like
yeah.
it doesn't result in the turnover, but it does eventually, and that was a huge play out of him.
Yeah. Several other people. I love the usage and the rotation on defense. I thought that they did a nice job. I'm curious to see the snap count. I saw AJ Klein on the field a lot. So, I mean, it was, I felt like AJ Klein played more than Matt Milano, but they put Milano in all of the key leverage third down plays, or we played more base defense than we have in a while. I'm really curious to see the snap counts in the film once I can really get a feel for it. It's really hard to track live during the game, but I certainly felt like AJ Klein was still out there a fair amount, and I like the way that it felt in the rotation and the usage. So whether that's leaning back into Matt Milano or, easing him back into this, I certainly felt comfortable with it. And I thought that Tremaine Edmonds had another really strong game. I like that you were hearing a lot of, the broadcast booth praising him for how well he was reading and making plays and making stops. I thought that the linebacker core as a whole played really well.
Yeah, I think Tremaine's back.
Yeah,
I do. He's running around playing just exactly as we saw him last year. I liked the rotation from what my eye could tell me. I think it was what they were trying to do the first time when they brought Milano back, of bringing him in situations where they know he's much better than Klein in those situations, known passing downs or pass rush blitzing, which the one that he got in on was exactly what the difference between him and Klein are, where he got blocked, made a pass rush move to remove the blocker, and still got pressure on Mullins. Klein was getting free and getting nice rushes free, but if he got stuck on a block, he had no pass rush moves, and that's where Milano is just night and day difference. And it's nice to have both those guys in the arsenal the way they're playing.
Yeah, and this is one of the ultimate you can't trust the box score games for the defensive line here. This was one of the better defensive line games we've had all season, and we had no sacks. There was a couple tackles for a loss. It was a great job by all of them. I think this was Vernon Butler's best game as a Bill. I saw him flash with penetration several times. Daryl Bam Johnson played fantastic, great special teams tackle, plus a couple nice plays later. It was a great call by Ron. AJ Epinesa had a great tackle for a loss and a pass breakup. They had him back in coverage, and he was great in coverage. Ed Oliver tried to kill Nick Mullins at one point. It was a really, really strong defensive line game with great penetration, breaking things up, never letting what is one of the most dangerous run games in the NFL get started at all.
Yeah.
And the box score is going to tell you nobody did anything all that special.
Yeah. That's why you don't follow it, because they were really good and they were playing in sync. That whole front seven was just playing in sync, filling lanes, aggressive downhill. When this game started in that first drive where they took it the 99 yards against the Bills, I was really worried about the Bills getting just physically outmatched throughout
Raheem
this game.
Mostert scared the crap out of me.
And that offensive line was just physically pushing our defensive line and the linebackers just back on that first drive. And when they made that goal line stand, everything changed in this game, and the physicality started to come from Buffalo, and they were just playing downhill the whole time. And I think Louis Riddick said it. They kept talking about how physical San Fran is, and that Buffalo matched and beat that physicality in this game. Absolutely. Is a great sign heading into the playoffs.
Huge. I mean, they prepped it going into the game. This was going to be the most physical Monday night game they had all year. It certainly felt that way when we had like 5 injuries on the first 2 drives between the two teams. It was fantastic. And, we've kind of worked our way through the offense and the defense, and a lot of times we'll pivot here into our segments and different pieces tonight. But a couple people we're talking about in the chat here. This is one of the best coaching games we've had all season. I thought Brian Daboll was spot on his game. I think that Leslie Frazier queued up a really strong defensive effort. I thought Sean McDermott was spot on. You're going to hear his name a couple times in these segments that are coming up here. And this was a really strong coaching effort against one of the best coach teams we've had all season. That's why I say that, because doing what the Bills did tonight against Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh is different than having a great game against Adam Gase and Greg Williams. It just is. It's just not the same thing. The performance they put up tonight and out coaching two people like Kyle Shanahan or Robert Saleh, hats off to Sean McDermott, Brian Daboll, Leslie Frazier, and the entire staff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I don't have anything to add to it. You just said exactly how good it was and how important that is.
So switching over here, we'll go into some of our friends for our upcoming sponsored elements here. And let's start with the responsible play of the game with our guys over at Uncle Jumbo's. And I think, we have a couple different ones for some of the other plays coming up here, but I think we were both in the same spot here. And I made a comment on Twitter that I was furious when the Bills went through, and I don't like that play where you're trying to get him to jump off sides, but you're not going to run the play. I don't mind that if you're in a spot where you can eat the 5-yard penalty. I hate it when it costs you a timeout. And that I don't understand the risk reward piece of it. And when we called the timeout, I was furious because my entire life a Bills coach has then called the timeout and kicked the field goal.
Most coaches, not just Bills coaches.
Oh, yeah, correct.
Almost every game I watch. Yeah.
And the fact that Sean McDermott still put his foot on the gas and came back out up 10 in a spot where, knowing the analytics tell you up 10 and up 13 isn't that big of a difference. You're still up by 2 scores. You're not up by a third score. But so many coaches just go, wow, we better get that extra field goal here. The fact that Sean McDermott still went for it on 4th down is intelligent, aggressive, and in my mind, responsible. And this is the most fun, responsible play of the game I can think of. It ended up being a 5-yard slant to Stephon Diggs to convert for 4th down. But I just can't believe that we have a coach that goes for that up 10.
Yeah, no, I love it. I loved all the I think every one of the going for it on 4th downs was a good play against this type of team that's well coached, and at any point could have got real explosive and got out ahead of you. So you take those chances when they present themselves and listen to the analytics and do it. But I agree with you. That one specifically also stood out to me that I thought for sure when they took the timeout they were going to line up for 3. And I tweeted at least twice saying, like, the Bills need to keep this thing a 3-score game. Like, you just have to. Not for any reason of winning or losing, for my stress and heart and the slightly elevated cholesterol that I have. So I needed this more than anyone.
Another nice call from Ron. And for anybody who's not following Ron, he's on Twitter, I Am Legend, one of our most loyal Cover One backers and supporters here. He's with us in the Cover One Slack channel all the time. Love Ron. Another great call here for a good honorable mention. When they did kind of that fake, Josh even leaned in like a fake quarterback sneak and then stepped back and did the hard pitch to Devin Singletary, that they just trusted that Singletary could beat the linebacker to the corner. Really, really was a strong play as well there. So a good honorable mention there by Ron.
Singletary had a couple nice short yardage pickups, I think, even on that drive. The thing that Josh Allen didn't convert a sneak. That's weird to me. That's automatic when I see it. Like, honestly,
it's one of the few times I can even remember. And it was like, he does a pretty good job where he's not just automatic explosive lunge. Like, he does a pretty good job taking the snap, finds a spot, and then lunges.
Right.
And, good on that defensive end. Like that, Kaiir Hyder is actually a really solid player who's a sneaky good player for them. Good on him just beating Darrell Williams inside his face and getting to Josh. So it's pretty rare to see that, but yeah, that was a little weird to be able to go through there. Switching over for our drive of the game, there was a couple different options here. Why don't you start it off? Because I liked yours when you mentioned it.
Yeah, it was not the sexiest drive really of the game, but
one of the weirdest, most frustrating ones I can imagine that ended awesome.
Yeah, and it ended in the field goal to end the half. And the reason I put that as my drive of the game is the Bills never do that. The Niners were about to go down double dip, and they ended up making them punt, and the Bills got the ball back with, I don't even know how much time was left on the clock. I think it was just like a little over a minute on the clock, and they went down and they got into field goal range. And instead of allowing San Francisco to double dip, the Bills get extra points before they kick back to San Francisco. And I think at the time it made it a 17-7 game. So you go up 10 going into half. to me, that was a huge play. That was something that we see out of the past New England Patriots, out of the Aaron Rodgers led Green Bay Packers. Like the good teams in prime time do that to end the half, get some points, and get a little bit of a cushion. Again, it'll be a forgetful moment of this game with all the big plays and the really nice long sustained drives that they had. But in my opinion, their ability to be able to do that and be aggressive in those moments. We've seen Bills coaches just kneel it out in those moments, or just play to, if they don't get that one first down, that's it. But yes, it was a frustrating clock management and timeout taking drive. A little annoying. Could have been cleaned up a little bit, but still resulted in a positive for the Bills.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if you go back and look at it in real time, again, you talk about plays that every Bills coach in my life has not gone for it. The Bills started at the 10-yard line with a minute left. It was 105. And at the 10-yard line, 90 yards to go.
Just like run it out, maybe get the first down.
Every single coach we've had is trying to get one first down just so that they don't have to punt it back and kneel it out and just end the half. And they did give a handoff to Singletary. I was like, oh man, I kind of was hoping for more than that. And then they did no huddle, and they kind of ran up, and they got the first down to Beasley, and then they took the timeout, and it was 2 plays for 35 seconds and 15 yards. So now we're at the Bills 25 with 75 yards to go and 32 seconds left, and only 2 timeouts left, and it's just like, all right, let's see what they do, and then. Boom, 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 18 yards, 20 yards, 18 yards, straight down the field. Like, holy crap, they're going to pull this off with some ridiculous, amazing throws from Josh. 2 crazy toe taps from Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley, and then a great crosser to Gabe Davis. So the end result was amazing.
Yes,
but
the start was a little shaky.
I was so mad for like that long that I was, what are you doing?
That toe tap from Beasley, my wife was like, kind of watching while she was on Instagram or Pinterest or something, and she looked up and saw that, and I heard her, it was like, whoa. She's like, there's no way he caught that. And then she saw the replay and she was like, oh no.
That's when you know it's good. That's when you know it's good.
How did he do that? He's just awesome.
So my drive of the game was maybe a little prettier than that one, but maybe not quite as dramatic. Mine was the first drive of the second half. They had just held the 49ers to a field goal. The 49ers cut it to 1 score. The Bills come back with an 11-play, 75-yard drive. That's the one that ended with the beautiful jet sweep wheel route to Isaiah McKenzie, made it 24-7, ended up being an 11-play, 75-yard drive. They get the interception 2 plays later and really kind of ended the game at that point for all competitive purposes. That was the one that I was happy to see. They still weirdly ended up tied in the third quarter. I thought they were going to finally crush the third quarter thing when they were up 10-3, but they ended up tied. I just want them to win the third quarter so people can stop saying that. But it still was a great drive, and that was my drive of the game. I'm even rocking the West Her shirt tonight.
There you go.
But it was fun to have a lot of options for drive of the game.
Yeah, and there were other options too. Those first few drives I wrote down, not the first one, but a bunch of drives I wrote down as potentials. That was a great drive. You picked a great drive for it. And as far as the third quarter thing, I thought they played really well, and they overcame the stigma of playing poorly in the third quarter, even though it was tied.
Correct.
And whatever, the beat guys need something to complain about, so let them have it.
So as we kind of step back here and figure out, okay, what does this mean? Obviously, Miami keeps winning. New England has somehow continued to win and get back into this. And I think as Bills fans, we're so conditioned to look for, oh crap, what is this going to mean, as far as what happens if we lose? And the fact that they come out here, really appreciate it, Daniel. It's very generous of you. It's fun, and being able to see the Steelers lost. This, a lot of people are prepping this as the game of the year. The Bills Steelers next Sunday night on Sunday Night Football. A huge game. The Bills controlled their destiny. They're going to end the season with Pittsburgh, Denver, New England, Miami. I posted it with some of the opportunities the Bills have tonight. They had a chance to end the Monday Night Football stigma. They just won on Monday Night Football for the first time this century, this millennium. Josh Allen had a fantastic game in primetime. Now they have a chance to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers and give themselves a shot at a bye or at a top 2 seed here in the playoffs. They can really take position for the division and really end the primetime national spotlight against the Broncos. They can end the Patriots' playoff hopes. They can end the Dolphins' playoff hopes. They can win the division for the first time in 25 years. They can host a playoff game for the first time in 25 years. This is a really, really exciting opportunity for this team, and tonight was a great start.
One thing, I need everybody to stop calling the Broncos game prime time because it's at like 4:00 on a Saturday. That's not prime. That's like
national
Judge Judy's
audience.
hour. Yes,
national audience.
Yes.
It'll be the only game on TV and a national audience.
Yes, with a bunch of like an old movie on TBS. And
it's
not a prime.
Winter, so by by like halfway through the first quarter, it'll be dark outside, so it'll feel like prime time.
Sure. But this is great. And what are we now? One fluky, improbable play away from 6 wins in a row.
Yeah.
Right now for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, if we don't have that Hail Mary, the Bills are 10-2 and facing the Steelers to take the number 2 seed, going for their 7th win in a row. So yeah, they are absolutely one fluky accidental Hail Mary that wasn't even called to be a Hail Mary away from 6 straight wins and a shot at the number 2 seed.
This is a good football team. And as our friend Bruce Nolan says, he talks about sustained winning and ways to sustain winning. This team has figured out ways to sustain winning. I don't look at the schedule and see a team that they can't beat remaining on the schedule. If anything, I actually think New England is probably the hardest matchup remaining.
Heck, if you tell me now the way that the Steelers played at 5:00 and the way that the Bills played at 8:00, are you betting on the Steelers right now?
Sure.
Do you think they should be favored in that?
I kind of wish the Steelers won. I wanted to be the team that took that away from them.
Me too. That was in my tweet. The tweet that I listed off the opportunities, I had end undefeated season. So I was a little annoyed that Washington stole that from us.
Although good for them, they have nothing else.
Hey, when you're in the NFC East, that was their Super Bowl.
Exactly. So good. And I have a good friend that's a Washington football team fan, and so I'm happy for him. But I wanted that for them. But this is the first time though, dude, where the Bills have gone on a winning streak, and they have an opportunity to. I'm not going to say they're going to win out, but it's not off the table. There's an opportunity for them to win out. And people are worried about the Dolphins. I think the Broncos are probably the weakest game remaining, but then it's the Dolphins. I think that
the Dolphins at home in the cold in Buffalo when their season might or might not be on the line. Nah.
I'm not worried about it. I'm definitely not worried about it yet. There's some worries about the Steelers, and we'll talk about that here coming up this week. I think that people are piling on to them because they don't believe that they were an undefeated team. They're not a perfect team. They're still a really good football team. And the league is close, man. We lost a wacky kind of improbable game. We've lost some bad games. Like, they're probably as good as the Bills. They're definitely not an undefeated team, but they're as good as the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. Well, anybody who watched the Steelers lose to the Washington football team, who watched the Chiefs struggle with the Broncos in an ugly game. I'm sorry, there is no team in the NFL that the Buffalo Bills cannot beat. Now, if you're telling me that we got to play the Chiefs 10 times, no, I don't think the Bills are gonna beat them more times than not. But you're telling me in a one-game winner-take-all playoff game that they can't beat the Kansas City Chiefs? No, yes, they can.
I think they could beat them 4 out of 10 times.
Sure.
Maybe 5 out of 10. I do.
They can give them a shot. That this team, this offense can go shot for shot with anyone. And when you have an aggressive, opportunistic defense, would we need some turnovers and some key plays against incredible players? Like whether it's Roethlisberger and Juju and Deontay Johnson, or whether it's Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill? Sure. Yes, of course we do. But are you telling me we can't do that? This team can go on a fun run here and can end this season in an amazing fashion.
I think that's the most important thing is we spent so much time while the team was winning. We would come on here in the post game and talk about how they weren't playing perfect. We weren't seeing complete.
It's better to learn those lessons in wins than in losses.
And how frustrated people were of the defense wasn't getting going, and this player's a liability, and that player's a liability, and we kept kind of just. And I think people thought it was Homer talk of echoing Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott of saying, this is the time to get through those lumps, take those lumps. We want to be playing our best football in November. Now we're in December, and they are actually playing their best football. The timing couldn't be better. You're getting people back healthy. The clock's ticking to get John Brown back healthy. That's it. Once we get him back healthy, we're assuming hopefully no more injuries come to play. You're going to get your whole squad back to ramp up for a nice streak to go into the playoffs. I'm a firm believer, dude, that the teams that take a winning streak into the playoffs take that momentum with them. It's just, that's how you do it. That's how you make one of these improbable runs that a team makes out of nowhere and becomes a Super Bowl contender. If they can do that, man, I see no reason why this Buffalo Bills team can't be playing in the AFC Championship game. I'll say it. I'm not scared.
Appreciate our man Davis. Thank you for the generosity. We appreciate it very much. It's exciting to have conversations like this, to be able to watch a game like this. So
at least publicly, I've talked about it in private before, but now I can talk about it publicly and not look like an idiot.
Yeah, it's all the better. So a couple fun, exciting things. Anybody who has been a big fan of 90s football will know the name Levon Kirkland. Aaron and I are going to have Levon on Wednesday night to preview Bills Steelers. We're going to dive right back into it here. It's kind of weird coming off a Monday night, but we'll be back here with you guys Wednesday night. It's going to be a fun run here, guys. I want you to enjoy this. Don't find reasons to nitpick or get frustrated or explain why it's not everything that it could be. This is the best Buffalo Bills team in 20 years. Enjoy every second of it. Enjoy every game of it. The Bills have a quarterback. The Bills are going to be good for a while. Josh Allen is going to make the Bills good for a while. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. We've gone through all the drought. We've gone through all the bad things. We've earned every second of this enjoyment. Just have fun, watch it, and love watching Buffalo Bills football.
Yeah, don't just enjoy it. Rub it in people's faces a little bit, too. It's okay. It's all right. It's sports. All your friends that have given you crap for the last 20 years, send them memes. Send them screenshots of box scores. Whatever you got to do to make yourself feel better. We've earned the right to talk a bunch of trash. And I'm not saying get too cocky, but all those friends that have picked on you and piled on you for 20 years, I got a list of people that I'm going to be sending them stuff over the next week. Another fun thing, I think Vertiball owes some of your followers, 3 of your followers,
it's fun.
each a Vertiball.
I've been having back issues for a long time. I bought myself a Vertiball.
Well, you've been carrying the show, so
obviously. And I'm obviously a shameless corporate shill and willing to have sponsorship things all over my body and my person and in my area. So I tweeted at him and said, "Hey, this is awesome. If you're looking for a sponsorship, I'll say good things about this thing all day." And they wrote back and they said, "Hey, how about we give away, if the Bills win tonight, how about we give away 3 of these to your listeners?" So that's going to be fun. Either after the game or tomorrow morning. I'm going to find
following Greg, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to find 3 listeners to be able to give this to. So yeah, if you haven't had a chance yet, go find that tweet and like it and retweet it and follow me, and you can win a free Vertiball back massager. They're awesome.
Yeah, I just bought one for my house. Good thing my wife doesn't listen to the show.
yeah, you could have found out she could have got one for free.
Whatever.
So this is awesome, guys. Really appreciate it. The chat was fantastic tonight. You guys were chiming in with some fantastic stuff. Really appreciate all the support from Uncle Jumbo's, from T-Shirt University, from West Her. Aaron, this is going to be a fun week. Where can the people find you to come have some fun?
Yeah, I want to thank the Buffalo Bills for winning, because there's honestly nothing worse than staying up this late and coming on after a disappointing national TV loss. So thank you, Bills. Thank you, Sean McDermott, Josh Allen, all you guys. You're great. This made it way more enjoyable. I'm excited. But you can find me at Aaron Quinn 716, talking a lot of football, but talking a lot of Christmas too. Yeah. So if you don't like Christmas, don't follow, because I don't want it.
Yeah, he's going to be putting out lists of top Christmas movies, top Christmas songs, all kinds of madness.
Cookies,
good stuff,
the best Christmas cookies.
Ooh, I like that. Now you're talking. James, thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. You guys are very, very kind. You guys can find me on Twitter at Greg Tompsett, GregTompsett. Come and have some fun. Thank you to Uncle Jumbo's. Thank you to T-Shirt University. Thank you to West Her. For Aaron Quinn and Greg Tompsett, you have been listening to Cover One Buffalo, and we are out.